And hello, everybody. Happy Cyber Sunday. Hope you're doing well. So, in the past, I have talked about, actually, I think it was last Cyber Sunday, I talked about how you shouldn't be afraid of a product or a technology putting it into your environment. Specifically, was kind of talking about AI, but there's other ones that you can think about. A lot of people put a lot of FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt about that from a cybersecurity perspective, especially AI these days. But what you shouldn't be afraid of is trying to use it in your program or use it in your organization. You just have to make sure you're securing it and doing some of those basic things. And I talked about how some of that new technology is actually enabling cybersecurity in a lot of ways. So talked about that. And then what I also talked about way back in the day was around how you can tell whether a product may be a good fit for your environment. What I talk about when a new product comes out, it needs to be solving an existing problem, generally needs to be doing that in an innovative way, and it needs to be not difficult to implement. Because if it's doing all those other two things, but you can't get it in your environment very easily and it causes a lot of problems, it's probably not going to get adopted. So those were very specific to product things. What I want to talk about now is whether a concept in cybersecurity, something that is coming out, like an analyst firm or something comes out with a larger concept, think zero trust, whether that is a trend or whether that are just kind of a flash of the pan or something that you ought to really consider. So I'm going to say something a little weird here, and forgive me, vendors. I feel like I have to apologize to you a lot. I don't mean this negatively, but it's going to sound weird in a lot of people's cybersecurity leadership and decision makers' minds. If a vendor is trying to take that concept and, here's the negative word, co-opt it to use to sell their product, in a weird way, that may show that it is a valid concept that is more than just a trend or a flash in the pan. I mentioned zero trust. So let's think about zero trust. Zero trust is absolutely a valid concept, something you can use in your environment. Not necessarily an easy thing to implement across the board, but what it is not, and I've heard multiple cybersecurity leaders say this, and just people that are, kind of strong voices in the industry, zero trust is not a product. It is a concept. It's not a trend in the way that you might think of it as, kind of flash in the pan. It is an actual good concept that you can implement in your environment. But there are a lot of vendors who try to use that to create some sales for their product, saying we do zero trust. And that, in my mind, is like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, if I've got 20 vendors out here talking about the same concept, then somebody has done something in there to say either a lot of people are looking at this, or maybe they've actually done some research to see that this is something that is valid and we can use it in our marketing. I'd say the same thing with the MITRE ATT&CK framework. So when MITRE ATT&CK came out, a lot of people immediately recognized the viability of that and how it made a difference and how you could find indicators of compromise in your environment and the techniques and the way the attackers came at different environments, different industries, that kind of thing. Very good stuff. Very helps a lot of people look for indicators of compromise and look for compromise in attackers in their environments. That being said, a lot of vendors use it as a concept and as a marketing ploy, if you will, to sell their product. Hey, we cover all of these, or we've got 98% coverage on MITRE ATT&CK framework or whatever. And that's not necessarily what MITRE ATT&CK's built for. There's been some articles about that lately. But it's lending some credibility to the concept of MITRE ATT&CK being valuable to you. So there's a lot of other things to think about when it comes to figuring out whether a new concept that comes out is a flash in the pan or if it's an actual viable trend that you should look at in your environment. But I thought I would just kind of give this one point of view that if a lot of vendors are using it, co-opting it to sell their product, put it in marketing, might be something you give it at least a look at. Again, I'll go in later in another Cyber Sunday about other things you should think about, but just something I've been thinking about. Let me know what you think. Again, vendors, sorry, I'm really not meaning to insult you. It's an interesting concept when I was thinking about it. So, all right, see you next time.